Hello and welcome to It's in the Cards. Australia and West Indies clash in the second semi-final of the ICC World T20 2012. One side is formidable while the other is unpredictable. Shruti Chopra, the tarot card reader, was with us in the studio and she looked into her cards to tell us what could be the possible outcomes of this game. Remember, Shruti has been covering the ICC World T20 2012 with cricketcountry.com and has got a phenomenal 70% of the match results right. Her record gets even better when it comes to players. She gets a phenomenal 80% right there. So what are Australia's chances for their game against the West Indies, the all-important semi-final?
Australia will need to be a little careful of believing that they won the game even before it's happened. And despite having a strong start, the right attitude and aggressive plans, their 10 of wands, it really brings them down. And one of the reasons is that it's come in their key position. That means despite having everything, they will still be pulled down by their own mistakes and may believe that, okay, this is fine, we can do this, but it's not going to be that easy. But in their favor is the Queen of Pentacles, which is their outcome card. So it definitely says that they will end strongly, but they have the chance where they'll falter, and that's where I think that they can probably lose this, but we'll have to see with West Indies cards.
Now, George Bailey captains Australia only in T20 internationals. So what would be his fortunes in the game against the West Indies?
Well, the Seven of Cups suggests that George Bailey will look confused. He will eventually get a little comfortable, but I think it's going to be a little tough because he'll have to be aggressive and he may not be able to manage the right balance. And he will need to be aggressive. That's the bottom line. I think he can't be as soft and live in a world of an illusion as explained by the Seven of Cups.
And what about George Bailey, the batsman?
It's simple. The Chariot represents a confident batting display by him. But I don't see this, continuing further. I think he will falter, he will make his mistakes, and he won't continue that momentum at all.
We've had a look at Australia's captain George Bailey. Now I would ask Shruti about their key players. First up, Shane Watson, the talismanic all-rounder who's been absolutely brilliant in the World T20 so far.
Okay, we'll start off with Shane Watson. He won't have the most easiest day today. What's good is that the Seven of Wands represents him pulling out all his resources and trying to get on top of the opposition. But it's not going to be as easy as that. He's not just going to be able to come in there and waltz his way and dictate the opposition. Certainly not that easy. But he has the key to be able to get on top of them, definitely.
And what about the power pack dynamite, David Warner, his opening partner?
David Warner is looking comfortable and he has a lot of ideas to implement, but he may not do this in the most wisest way. And it's indicative of the Emperor's card, which shows that he will play a steady innings, but I think he will have that uneasy start.
And Mr. Cricket, Michael Hussey.
Michael Hussey has been pretty dependent in the past, but I think with the Eight of Swords, he's just going to restrict himself a little too much. I mean, it's very clear. This person's not tied at all, and he can easily get out of the situation, but I think he's putting himself in his own shell. So it will be a tough day for him.
Coming to the old warhorse, Brad Hogg, who has made a comeback to cricket at the age of 41.
Brad Hogg will bowl steadily, but at the same time, with the 10 of Swords coming up, a lot of these Swords cards are pretty painful, and this is no less. The 10 of Swords definitely represents him having to work very hard to pull himself out, to receive results for being economical. I mean, there's one thing of just restricting the opposition, but if you can't get them out, then they can capitalize further with the others.
Next, I would like to ask you about is the young and upcoming pacer Mitchell Starc.
Yes. Four of Pentacles, again, someone who is going to be miserly, but very effective. He certainly holds his runs close to his heart, and he's really, he's passionate about what he does, so he's not just going to let it go.
You mentioned Michael Hussey, David Warner, and Shane Watson wouldn't have the best days.
Yes.
So do you think the Australian middle order would be exposed again and would be iffy?
They would be. I do believe that's something that's going to happen, especially with someone like Shane Watson, who they rely a lot on. But Shane Watson being an all-rounder, it's not like you can keep him out of the game for too long. He's going to contribute in some way or the other. But I'm a little concerned with people like Michael Hussey, who everyone has become a little bit more dependent on. That if Watson's gone, then Hussey's there. I think that's going to be a little bit concerning for the Australians.
Well, if the top three fail, then there's certainly a test waiting for the Australians. What about the men from the West Indies? Would the Caribbean party continue in Sri Lanka?
Well, with these cards, it's very clear to say that initially the occasion will get the better of them, but they will have to remove themselves from this lack of belief. And I really think they'll manage to do that. They'll build a steady innings and they'll remove themselves from all this confusion. One of the main reasons is the king of ones, which shows them to be adaptable, shows them that they will want to change their approach so that they can put up a really strong fight, and don't rule them out.
And what about the cool-headed Darren Sammy?
Pretty cool-headed. Actually, he'll be quite happy with his team. They'll be proactive, but I think he needs to be more proactive. He needs to be a little bit more realistic, especially with the Page of Cups, which warns of, applying yourself and just keeping a little better focused. But I think all round, the team will support him really well. I think that's what's the key.
And what about his playing role as the all-rounder in the team?
As a bowler and a batsman, he'll manage to do well. He'll be aggressive where required with like the Chariot. And he'll be able to stabilize things like the Knight of Pentacles. He will do a good role. He'll manage it. I think he will make the West Indians proud.
Well, the West Indians would certainly hope that Darren Sammy fires on the day. So who would be the key players for the West Indies? Obviously, the name that comes to mind is Chris Gayle, the hard-hitting batsman who has been absolutely brilliant in T20 cricket.
Now, Chris Gayle will have to grow his innings, and with the Four of Pentacles drawn, he's not going to take massive chances. He's going to play a really steady innings, and he doesn't really want to lose out on this opportunity. I think it means the world to him to be able to be a part of this team and in this position. So a good day for him for sure.
And what about his young opening partner, Johnson Charles?
Johnson Charles is he will look to play a steady innings as well. I think he does want to support Chris Gayle, and he will be very careful with his tactics, which he will go about very slowly. No one is looking to be aggressive. Everyone wants to take it one step at a time.
And the all-rounder Marlon Samuels, who can contribute with both bat and ball.
Marlon Samuels needs to bring his ideas together very quickly, especially with the Nine of Pentacles rewarding him for a good day. I think he will need to be a little careful with his bowling, because the Nine of Pentacles certainly shows a good day with getting runs, but may not so be with, being economical. So I think he might be a little wayward there.
Now coming to the mystery spinner Sunil Narayan, what about him? He had been the star during the IPL for the Kolkata Knight Riders.
Sunil Narayan will need a push in the right direction, but he has it. He will have a very good day. He has the right ideas. The Ace of Swords definitely supports him that way, but just that gentle push, and I think you should see him do well.
And what about India's nemesis, Ravi Rampal?
Ravi Rampal is someone who's going to capitalize on the opposition's weaknesses, for sure. I think he's not going to, allow them to play freely. So it will be a good day for him. A little expensive at times, but I think he'll do well.
And the big question, do you think West Indies have it in them to beat Australia?
West Indies, going back to the cards. West Indies certainly have it in them to beat Australia, because they have that little moment that I told you earlier about the Ten of Wands, where they are going to be weak, and it's the best opportunity that West Indies will have to capitalize on. So let's look at it this way. Australia starts out strongly, but then falters, and then tries to pick themselves up. But West Indies are going to take it slow. They're going to be nervous, they'll take it slow, and they'll build themselves up. So I'd go with West Indies.
So the cards say that West Indians are going to beat Australia, and if that happens, then certainly Colombo would be engulfed by a wave of Gangnam Style.